I can make a start. I understand it is getting very close to the end of the year for students and families as we move into Christmas, so we don't intend on keeping you too long tonight, but we just wanted to say a big thank you to all our students, or our new students for 2025, for coming along this week, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and what is normally the first week of holidays if you're a Year 10 student, and an activities week if you're in Year 9, but you've come along here and you've engaged really, really well with our program, with our leads, our teachers and all the staff here. And it's been lovely to get to know everybody through that very short period of time, and we are certainly looking forward to getting to know everyone even better as we move into next year. So thanks parents as well for coming along this afternoon to hear a little bit more about the Technical College. I am recording this part of the session so that if anyone did want to go back and re-watch for any reason, you'd be more than welcome to. We'll have some more sessions also at the start of the year next year in year level specific to support you to understand the program in even more detail. So I'll talk for a little bit tonight, and then we'll break out with each of our leads to have a bit more of a structured conversation about your students' industry training program. We'll refer to them as ITPs quite often, but they're industry training programs here in Findon Technical College. So before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge Findon High is situated on the land of the Kaurna people, has and always will belong to the First Nations people. We want to pay our respects to elders past and present, and acknowledge the pain and struggle they've experienced and continue to experience to this day. We hope with the community we have at our school we can bring about change in order to live in a more respectful and inclusive environment. I would like to take a moment to introduce our team tonight. So we're lucky to have with us Tim Clone, who's Director for the Technical Colleges, so he oversees the whole project in the Education Department. Our team on the ground here at Findon, we have Joel Phillips, who's just disappeared for a moment, and he's back. Joel is the lead for Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering. We have Tash Farrier, who's our lead for Early Childhood Education, and we have Tara Wooderick, who's the lead for Health and Social Support. So depending on your industry training program, they will take you for a bit more of a contextualised talk straight after I talk with you. That'll also be in the industry area, so you'll get to go up and have a look at the rooms and the workshops and get a bit of a feel and a sense of the space that your child's going to be working in this year. So I'm going to keep mine relatively straightforward and just talk about the bigger picture of technical colleges, some of which you will have heard before if you've come along to open nights or any other sessions that we've run here at the Technical College. But a reminder that this really is a head start to a hands-on career for all of our young people. So all of our students at the Technical College will graduate over the course of their 3-year engagement with this program, or 2 years if they're coming in at Year 11, with the SACE, their South Australian Certificate of Education, with industry-aligned VET qualifications, so vocational education and training qualifications for industry. They'll have practical work and employability skills, which is a really important component of the work that we do here, making sure our young people are work ready and ready to go and add value to businesses or add value to industry as they move in. Real world experience, so that's that 1 day a week of work placement across each week at Years 10 and 11, and for some it will mean full-time employment, full-time engagement with the university and their program when they hit Year 12. It'll provide everything students need to start work in growing industries. All of the industries here at Findon Technical College are ones where we have real skill shortages in South Australia. So as long as there's really high levels of engagement, and we've done some work already to make sure that students are suitable and ready through the interview process and the application process, there are jobs waiting for you. And there are great connections to employers and people working in industry. Students over our first year have made really meaningful, lasting connections with industry. We've gone on excursions to industry, got to know what it's like to actually be there and be working. So it is high school, but it is different, and we refer to the Technical College as a workspace as opposed to a school, and we do that very deliberately because the learning environment is practical, it's real world, and it's hands-on. So what it isn't, and I'll call it what we used to call it in schools, it's not cells and bells. What I mean by that is a bell rings, You go out of one cell, you walk into another, and you learn in that cell, and then you walk out of another and you walk into the next one. In this building, it is a workspace, and we are working in engineering, we are working in health, we're working in education. So all of our learning is guided around that. So we don't go to English, maths, drama, music. We go to work in education, work in health, work in engineering. So it is designed to be an authentic workplace experience. And it is about identifying and working towards career pathways. It's not necessarily about knowing exactly what that pathway is right now. We know your passion and we know your interest. Some of you will know a little bit more than that about where that could take you. For some of you, that will be about now being the time where you start to identify what that looks like. Your first work experience placement may be as a nurse, your second might be as a physiotherapist, and your third might be in aged care. Getting a real sense of where do I want to go and what do I want to do and where could this career take me is a really important part of this journey. And then it's about taking up the opportunities that come across year 11 and year 12, or even year 10, in terms of school-based apprenticeships and traineeships, work and further education through university. And the benefit of studying through a technical college is you have that access to university without the traditional old school notion of an ATAR. And universities will certainly acknowledge that the ATAR is not necessarily the best determining factor for someone who's going to be successful at university. It is passion, it's drive, it's experience that's contextualised to that industry that's important. So, the student experience at the technical college is an important one. We've talked a bit about it with students today. We will provide ongoing support through weekly check-ins, regular mentoring and coaching sessions. Every student will have coaching and mentoring across each week and across each fortnight, whether that's on site or whether that's out in the workplace. We will provide monitoring and will provide support to stay on track. Industry plays a role in that mentoring as well. And most importantly, 12 months after your child graduates the technical college and finishes year 12, we will continue to provide that ongoing support. Because what we do know is that the more support young people have from people who they are connected to, the more likely they are to be successful moving forwards. We will have a real focus on career development, and that is part of that hands-on learning. So every student here will develop a career action plan as one of the first things that they do. Here's where I am currently, here's where I would like to get to, and here's how I plan on doing that. Here's my barriers, here's how I plan on overcoming those barriers. So that's the agency that sits in that. How am I going to activate where I would like to go and how I'm going to get there? And how can these wonderful people in the Tech College building support me to do that? That career action plan will grow and it will change. It will not be done once, it will be done iteratively over those years. Because we've had students this year, they were on an apprenticeship pathway, all of a sudden through their learning they've gone, actually, you know what, I really want to go to university now. And we've had students who are on a university pathway who've gone out into a particular workplace and had the time of their life with that employer and gone, I'm going to accept that apprenticeship opportunity as it's been offered to me now. Knowing that university is still on the table and on the cards further down the track if I choose to do that. So they will have the opportunity to continue to explore those ranges of careers in industry and to develop skills to manage their career over a lifetime. That's one of the most important parts. And we support students with managing and growing those core skills for work and life. Students will all engage with curriculum depending on year level. Year 10, it's a South Australian curriculum, and we have what we call a PBL approach. So that could be problem and project-based learning, but it's all contextualised to industry with our industry partners. So we still cover the core components of South Australian curriculum, so your English, your maths, your science, your humanities, and some other subjects in there as well, but we don't actually have dedicated subject time. We have that time in engineering, health and education. Our staff make sure we're meeting all of those literacy and numeracy standards, all those standards in science and humanities, so that your child is still getting that well-rounded education that they need. In SACE, we start with EIF in year 10, which is exploring identities and futures, and that is part of that. Where do I want to go? What's my passion? How am I going to get there and activate that? We'll do workplace practices as part of that component as well, which will really help to activate the work experience part of that. We also, from next year in Year 10, will do some vocational education and training. All students will start with what we call the FSK, Foundation Skills and Knowledge, which is a baseline literacy and numeracy designed to make sure that everybody in the tech college has the level that they need to be successful in their industry. Certainly acknowledging as well that some students will need to and want to take that learning further, and so we will have those stretch opportunities available to all students to be able to make sure they can activate as far as they need to go to be successful. Moving into Year 11, through the SACE we have time built into our timetable each week for our Year 11s called Practice and Technical Development. During that time our students will do their AIF, use of the research project. That's about activating my identity and my future. You can see how those words really link into what we're doing here. They'll do some industry connections as a SACE subject, which is about acknowledging here's the skills that I've been developing over the year in work placement, in my practice and technical development time, in my vet course, and here's how I'm going to demonstrate those skills. It's about having a passion project, something that they can sink their teeth into that is unique to them, and then it's about reflecting on that experience over time. And we do our vocational education and training. So next year all of our Year 11s will do that also. But also alongside that, they will be doing their trade level qualifications. So Certificate 2 in Engineering Pathways, Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education, and 2 Certificate 3s in our health streams, Certificate 3 in Allied Health Assistance and Certificate 3 in Individual Support. Students who are on a university pathway will also have that opportunity to do enabling studies with Flinders University next year, which is the step that they need to take to be able to access university studies in Year 12. And that enabling studies is contextualised to each of our 3 pathways. Excuse me. Our work requirements. So Year 10, we have a school day we're building up to work. So students will arrive at 8:30 and finish at 3:10. Every Wednesday we do have a late start of 10:40, and that's our professional development time for staff. So students are required on deck, ready to learn at 10:40. They don't come, have a break time and then go. They come and start learning at 10:40. Year 10s will have work experience 1 day a week from term 1. So a big part of our orientation program is identification of placement and then working towards being placement ready. Paperwork getting done, making sure we know how to be safe when we're at work. We've done all our requirements that sit around that. Students might choose to change employers each term and try different things. Some young people might find the perfect employer and want to stay with them for a little longer. Those opportunities are available also. We do also have, for some employer partners, additional week blocks of placement that students will be invited to be a part of. Year 10, also career development being a big part of the week. We have time set aside for employability and career management, creating that career action plan. And for all students, from next year we'll have individualised performance plans, called a one plan in the department. Every student will have an individual performance plan directed to them that they will inform what that looks like to make sure that we can best support not only their learning but their well-being and their progress through the technical college. And that will be for all 10s and 11s. A Year 11 work day is longer. So it starts at 8 and finishes at 4. So part of that is making sure you're able to get yourself to work on time and your work ready for the day. And part of it is making sure you're actually ready for what is, when you leave school, a longer work day. So that's why we refer to this as a workplace as opposed to a school. Year 11s will also have a later start on a Wednesday, but only if they don't have vocational training on that day. If the vet course happens to fall on a Wednesday, you'll start at your normal vet course time. Work placement, again, aligned to industry and vet requirements. Some of our vet requirements actually say students have to do a certain amount of placement days in industry. What we would hope is that leads to traineeships and apprenticeships for the students who are desiring this. Time spent in Year 11 also on career development, so updating those career action plans, working through pathways, traineeships, apprenticeships, university work, and continuing to have that ongoing coaching and mentoring through those performance plans and their goals. So there are, as you can see, this is a specialist program. It's quite an exclusive program. So we are a workplace with what we would call high expectations. We hold our staff to those, we hold our students to those. They're referenced in the student experience guide. We have some printed copies available over there from this year. Most of the details in there are correct. There's a couple of teachers who have moved in and moved out, and the names won't be quite right, but the guide is. And from this year, we're also going to have a code of conduct that all of our students will be a part of signing off on. And this is what we're making sure that we're going to abide by while we're here at the Technical College. So it is really important to us that we hold not only ourselves but all of our students accountable for this as well. So it's demonstrating through their time, and these are the key words that we want to keep referring back to, through this time that students are ready and that they're suitable for that fast track. And readiness and suitability talks for quite a few things. So if a student's struggling with that term, readiness and suitability, we'll put interventions in place to support students through their individualised performance plans. But that includes things like meeting workplace requirements. So being in your Tech College uniform each day, making sure you're dressed appropriately for work. For example, in engineering, if students are in the workshop, they have to be in their high-vis gear. They have to have their steel cap boots. You know, it's just, we know today's our workshop day. I know I have to have that with me. I know I need to be dressed in that. All right, that's just one example. Phones, it is a requirement of all schools in SA that phones are away. We use you on the couches here, but it's also a work requirement. Lots of our industry partners do not allow phones on any of their employees, and so getting used to the fact that you can't have your phone during the day is a really important component of this work. So the phone being, this is mine, I have a right to have it on me, is not a part of the Tech College model. Attendance and punctuality being really important other features of that. Now, rolling in at 8:45 when your day started at 8 needs to be something that we work towards eradicating from our life, because guarantee you, or most of you as parents would know, employers don't look kindly on that. They want you there on time and they want you working because that adds value to the business. Certainly being late all the time detracts and takes value all away. Meeting your curriculum and your learning requirements. So completion of your PBL tasks, completion of SACE is an important component of this. So making sure students are keeping up with that. We don't set homework at the Technical College. It's not usually a work requirement. The only time homework's a work requirement for most of us in our day-to-day is if we don't necessarily get our work done during the day. So then there may be homework. I'm thinking about my job. I have homework all the time. Completion of vet units of competency. 100%. Without completing your vet component, you can't complete the Technical College component. So attendance and punctuality being super important, because if you don't attend your vet course, you can't be ticked off as being competent, and then you can't get your certificate. Also meeting behavioural requirements and expectations. Safe use and respectful use of equipment and facilities here. Maintaining professional workplace behaviours, communications, relationships with other people. So we will hold our expectations of everybody here really, really high and unapologetically. What we provide to make sure those things can happen: a uniform ready to wear. So students have all been sized up. The uniform lady set up just over there. So if you did want to double check anything before you leave after this presentation tonight, she is here. You get the laptop for the 3 years of the program. Obviously that gets returned when finished. I said to students this morning, laptops get really easily damaged, and not always deliberately. The chucking it in a school bag and hopping on a bus and doing all those things damages them. My strong suggestion is spending $15 and getting a hard shell case for it and keeping it in there while you transport it to and from the Technical College. You receive your subsidised vet training. Now you're getting basically free training in a course designed to get you where you want to be. and ongoing coaching and mentoring, not only through your 2 to 3 years here, but beyond for a year. And all of that is wrapped up in yearly, your yearly school fees, which at Findon High School for next year is $590. So really low cost, high quality training that you are all entitled to. Even this goes right through year 10, year 11, it continues into year 12 when students might be a full-time school-based traineeship or apprentice, full-time at university. They'll still have full access to the technical college, to the staff, to support, to coming in here a day a week or 2 days a week as needed, when required, as part of and wrapped up within those low or very low school fees really. And so what's expected, as I said before, showing readiness and suitability, attending all sessions, attending work experience regularly, making sure all those 1%ers are being done. Commit to that safe completion over 3 years. That's we're all signing off on that commitment. And make sure you pursue your passion, whether that's an apprenticeship, a traineeship, university or work. This place allows you to do that in a really different way, and it's really, really exciting. For me, it's been an amazing experience watching our students grow this year. And just the fact that we had a huge number of them come in this week when they're not required to be here anymore because they wanted to be part of the induction process for new students coming on board, I think speaks volumes about what the program has meant to them. And that's in no small way thanks to the key staff here who support them every day. So what we're going to do is have some breakout sessions where Tash, Tara and Joel will talk to you a little bit more through the ITP specific information. So I think what we'll do is we'll go to our actual rooms, so you'll get to see the teaching rooms for each of the industry training programs as part of that. So if you are with Tash in early childhood and education, she's going to take you upstairs. Tara for health and social support will do the same. We might just wait, Joel, if you want to stay here.